Welcome to Best Friends in Franchising. I'm Morgan Noller.
And I'm Kathryn Allen.
If you're curious about franchising, exploring new opportunities, or looking to diversify your portfolio, you're in the right place. We'll talk myths, money, mindset, and everything in between. Let's dive in.
All right. So October is Women in Small Business Month, and that is something to celebrate, right, Morgan?
Yes, we are women and we own businesses.
This is true. So we will be featuring a slew of women in franchising who have really inspirational and incredible stories that will be great to listen to. But because it's Women in Small Business Month and because we are owners of Soccer Stars, we thought, why not kick off our series talking about our journey in business ownership. We're going into year 3. And I think we've learned so much in the past 2.5, 3 years. But I want to go back to the beginning. I'm going to start with, I think so much of business ownership and buying a franchise is getting over the fear of what that means and going back to your why. And so I want to start with the fear factor because I think that that's what holds a lot of people up and halts them before they get to that business ownership stage. And if you're listening to this podcast, we're trying to give you, the lessons that we learned and how we got where we are, which is in a really great place. So, Morgan, what was your biggest fear in starting Soccer Stars?
Easily my biggest fear was it being a total failure. I was so scared to make the jump, make the leap to buying a franchise and becoming a business owner for Soccer Stars. And my biggest fear was I just didn't want to fail. I just had this huge worry and burden, it felt like. And once I just got over the fear, it was so much easier. And then my second fear was not having time for my kids and my family because I'm home a lot and my husband travels for work. So solo parenting, if anyone is listening and has to do that quite often, it's a huge task. It's exhausting. It takes a village to raise kids and families. So that was my other concern, but it's been a wonderful work-life balance. And I spend almost more time with my kids than I probably did before buying Soccer Stars. But Kathryn,
Those are two valid fears. And I think a lot of people out there can resonate. They resonate with me.
absolutely. But Kathryn, tell us what your fear was.
So I think my biggest fear was replacing my salary. So I did come from a corporate job where I was a director of marketing and I had a pretty significant salary that was essential to our lifestyle. And so my biggest thing is, I think I got laid off. And so it was meant to be, honestly. You were there. I looked at you. You're like, it's going to be okay. I quickly became an owner. And I dove right in. And that was honestly the best thing that could have happened to me because I was like, how am I going to start this business and have my other job? It's just not really feasible to grow at the rate that I want to grow. So yeah, the fear, going back to the fear, it was replacing my salary and being able to financially contribute to my family. So that really was also the impetus and gave me the boost I needed to really hustle and grow to be, and that's why I was MVP that first year, right? Because I had no other choice. I had to grow and I had to grow quickly to quickly be able to contribute financially to my family. So
And I think that's perfect because I always say that if you want to go get your master's, you can do that and spend a lot of money on it, or you can just go buy a franchise. It's a real life experience, real business, your money. And if you don't hustle, there's consequences.
and the beauty of that, I mean, really, I feel like, I don't know about you, but I've had a number of conversations recently with friends who want to start their own business. And, we talk through that and what that looks like. And I think people are coming to me now because they see us posting and, with franchise consultancy. And I don't think everyone knows what that means. And so it also is like, we own our own businesses, right? So they're like, how are you doing it? I think the beauty of franchising is, and this was another fear for me. This is another fear. I was afraid if I didn't have someone to hold me accountable and I did do something on my own when I had never owned a business. I was a director of marketing. Like I knew marketing, but that's kind of all I knew. I didn't know about P&Ls. I didn't know about KPIs. I mean, I did, but like just in the sense of running a business, HR, accounting, payroll, all these things you need to know Like, they don't teach you that in college, and they don't teach that in your corporate job because in your corporate job, you have a specific role and a specific function. And it's not running the company, it's marketing, it's HR, it's, like, very specific. And so I think that's where owning a franchise is so great because you come in, like you said, and it is kinda like, don't go to grad school and spend all this money, right? Like, why don't you just spend that less a fraction of that money, buy a franchise, you have a whole team and system that you're buying into, and then you learn so much. You and I have learned so much over the past few years. And now we're here advising others. And so it's just like we're just getting started.
We're
So,
just getting started, and I mean, even though I did own businesses and even though I was an interior designer, it was just me. Or, like, I did do huge events and event planning, but it was, like, volunteers a lot of time. So I
right.
didn't even though I knew that I had to wear many hats, it was without this road map and what they give you with, like, the systems and the operations and all these different things that you'd have to figure out on your own, and I would have had to if I wanted to scale those 2 businesses to where I am with Soccer Stars, I would have been totally lost. I would have been using ChatGPT a lot. How do I
Yeah,
do HR? How do I figure out payroll? What system
right.
do I use? Right.
And let's be real, 2 years ago, ChatGPT wasn't even a thing. So you would
No,
not have been using that. You would not have been using that
I would have been
because
using
that was 2
Google.
years ago.
Google and page after page after page, article after article after article. I wouldn't have a virtual assistant. No way. That wouldn't have existed. So we are so lucky that we have franchises in this day and age because they
Yes.
help us so much.
And you're hitting on another fear for me. Sorry, that one more came up. My fear was payroll and paying coaches. So,
Yeah.
like you said, when you had your own business, it was you. I was also doing fractional CMO work. Guess what? It was just me. That was easy. I'm accountable for me. But when you're growing a team, so if you have a business and you're looking at a franchise with, I have 30 coaches, so I have 30 employees. That was a fear. Wonder, and guess what? At the beginning, I wasn't able to make payroll twice and I had to pull in from my own reserves. And that was a big fear. Again, financially focused, but that's something to consider when you're looking to buy a franchise is there's concepts that have no few to little employees, like a back nine golf concept where you can, it's kind of the 24-hour gym concept where people have key cards and you need maybe one employee. Something like Soccer Starts like you and I own, we have a lot of employees. And guess what? That's been the biggest, one of the most rewarding things for me is building a team of coaches and inspiring them and essentially giving them everything I felt like I didn't have recognition. I pay them well. Um, things like that. That's been really rewarding for me.
Yes. Clearly, we're both very passionate about this topic.
We are. So going on to the next thing, what is your biggest fear now? What is your biggest fear today?
It's totally changed. Now it's more like the fear is I have this roadmap of like expansion and where I need to go and what I need to do. But the fear is like if I grow too fast and go too big, then I could be pulled away from like that first fear of like my family and have to step back in as a coach again if I don't do it right. So while I know where I need to go and what I need to do, the fear is that I might fail again or something will go wrong and I'll have to step in more than what I'm doing now. And I just don't have the time for it. So it's almost like I need to get out of my own way, move aside, and just go back to basics and expand and grow and get going.
And my fear is the exact same as yours. My fear is the exact same as yours. I am buying a second territory. I'm expanding. What does that mean to me? I mean, where we're different is your territory is really long. So what? From one end to the other is how long does that take you to
It's
drive?
it's 4 hours. We clocked it
That's
one time.
insane.
Yeah,
That's
like,
insane.
from point A all the way down to point B, and the only reason we're bringing this up is because it's a good learning lesson to maybe drive around and check your territory a little bit. And California is a very long state, so Kathryn and I sort of lose out on that, but because it's so long, that's just the way that the territory was available, and someone had already bought next to me, so it's just the way that it goes. If someone says that their territory is gonna get bought, take it seriously. It's not a selling tactic. They're actually going to sell it. It will not be available. So I have a very geographically large territory. So for me to have coaches 2 hours from my location north and 2 hours south, that's a lot for me to try and train them and coach them and get there. So it's just something we're figuring out. We've got the roadmap. We just have to do it.
Yeah. And for me, I'm lucky. Like, I think my area, I live in the East Bay area. and it's just more densely populated. And so the way my territory was structured geographically from one end to the other, isn't as far. Maybe it's an hour, but adding in these additional territories, I have to go over a bridge and there's a toll. And that's just something to think about from like a coaching perspective and costs that I cover. But it's just that far enough where I'm in your boat of no, I don't want to compromise on quality and I have to hire coaches out in that area. When I do trainings right now, they're in Walnut Creek, literally down the street from my house at a park. It's really nice, but I think one thing I've learned in business, and this maybe goes into the next thing we were going to talk about, which was what is our personal motto or philosophy. So, Morgan, you and I talked about something yesterday, but one that came up for me when I was thinking about this podcast this morning is get comfortable being uncomfortable. I think as a business owner, it's all about that. If you want to grow, you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And it is not comfortable to be uncomfortable. It is not comfortable. But I know when something makes me uncomfortable, I need to do that thing. And that is going to result in me growing and generating more revenue and getting closer to the goals and to the North Star that I've set for myself. What is your personal kind of philosophy or motto in business?
Yeah, I think just what I always go back to is a quote I heard that said, "This too shall pass." Like, you feeling good, you're on top of the world, you've had a great day, this too shall pass. If you've had a really low moment that day or that week and it's just feeling like it's a struggle, that too will also pass. Just keep going, be consistent, get out of your own way. You're going to have high highs and low lows, but the consistency and moving forward is the only way to do it. The only thing that'll stop you and make you fail is if you stop completely. And I loved what you said too, Kathryn, because I always think of Sarah Blakely, the Spanx owner. And when
Yeah.
she started and she would have these huddles, and so inspiring because she focused on what went wrong. And I thought that was so interesting. Like every day she'd say, "Okay, where did we fail today? Let's talk about it." It wasn't like the great success stories. It was just like, "Hey, we failed here. Let's fix it. And we'll do it better next time." And it was like a safe space, it felt like. And I feel that way with franchising with you and me, Kathryn. I feel like a lot of what we talk about is how we're failing or like how things aren't going as well as they should be, and we get advice. And so I think, those tough days are going to pass, but talk about it and embrace it.
And that's like the story of life, right? Without struggle, you don't have growth. Like that is goes back to the beginning of time. Like there is struggle and there is winning, there's growth, there's movement forward. And so you're always going to have both. You can't grow without a struggle. And so it's just being able to embrace that. And like you said, this too shall pass and keep moving it forward, which is where it's also very important to set goals because you need to know where you're moving, right?
Tom Hanks.
Tom, I love
Yeah,
Tom.
love Tom Hanks. I just think he's a neat guy. So when I heard that quote, I was like, hey, if it works for him, it works for me.
I love
Like,
it. I love it. So we've talked about fear because, like, fear is something that I think fear is the biggest thing that holds everyone back in life. Whatever that looks like, it's just fear. Let's talk now about challenges. What was your biggest challenge in the beginning of starting your business?
yep, it's something I didn't really think much about because we just moved to Granite Bay, California. We loved our town, but we knew very few people. And certain franchises, you kind of have to be connected or be that mayor of the town. And I didn't know anyone. So I thought I could start my business, start my franchise, pick a location and get going. And it was not that simple. I really had to figure out how to be profitable fast. And I had to pivot and get creative with it. And it worked because the franchise helped me figure it out. But that was a huge challenge at first, just getting going. And it just felt like for me, someone that likes success fast is painful. Painful. And we're talking a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And apparently that was the most painful thing for me, which is hilarious looking back because that's actually not that long to get profitable, but it felt like a long time. And then just what we talked about with the territory, just do that market research. Take a drive, look at your zip codes, dive in deep. And I didn't actually own Granite Bay at the time, which is where I live. And it's now still my most profitable zip code. But the corporate helped me figure out how to trade zip codes and get what I needed to be profitable. And so I really am grateful for that. And it's still to this day is my most profitable zip code.
And I think that you bring up a really good point. because I've been doing this, 15 years. Prior to this, I was in senior care. And so franchise owners, like that's a very common thing, right? That people maybe move somewhere new and they don't, and they buy a franchise, or they buy a franchise that's not in their backyard. And so it's far enough away. They don't know anyone in that area, right? So I think, again, that's where franchising is such a benefit, because you're buying into a system and a marketing strategy and plan that has worked for however many owners they have, right? Emerging brand, maybe it's a little newer, but like they've proven the concept with at least one location. So again, I think that's just the beauty of franchising. You knew you could go to corporate. Hey, this isn't working. You and I talked. It's like marketing's my background. But that's the beauty again of a network. You have a network of franchise owners. You and I just happened to be best friends. We started at the same time. That was like the best thing ever. But we also had access to like 80 other owners, and we all have different backgrounds, different experiences, different professional expertise. And like that's the cool thing. You can lean on each other, come together as a group, and kind of like, okay, this is working for you, I'm gonna try that in my market. Like this is uh anyways, so I digress, but yes.
No, but it's true. I mean, when you buy into the franchise system, you're not out there on your own. You're not suffering in silence. You've got a whole group of people that are helping you. And we still talk to all those people daily. You can chat them and talk to them and get on group calls. It's great. Kathryn, your big challenge. Let's talk about that. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so I think my biggest challenge, and it kind of goes back to fear, was, with Soccer Stars, this is a program where we provide soccer classes and camps and preschool enrichment for young children, like 1 to 11 years old. And I started in the parks because that made the most sense in my mind. And at the time, my kids were 4 and 5, which was like our sweet spot. And I felt this was so closely tied to like my reputation and me, and we're out there delivering this really fun program to kids. Like my level of like what the quality needs to be is very high. So my challenge was being able to find other coaches that I felt I could trust and were dependable and would run the program to my standards. And so the challenge became I was out there coaching 13 classes, not hours, 13 classes a week, which is a lot, as you know. So I was doing everything in the business. So I was coaching 13 classes a week. I was doing marketing. I was doing business development, payroll, like all the things. That is not sustainable. So I burned myself out. And you can't grow your business if you're in the business that much. And so the challenge was finding those coaches, but then once I got started and I was hiring and I put some incentive plans in place. So I think like the easiest thing is just if you think about whatever business you're in, just pay them at the top. So here in California, I think minimum wage is $20 an hour. You do your market research. Let's say other youth sports companies are paying their coaches $20 an hour, pay them 22. And then like my big thing was becoming a super amazing place to work. So make it fun for them, recognize my coaches. We do paid trainings, team bonding. I had incentive plans that incentivize them showing up for every class, like executing the curriculum exactly as it needed to. So by doing all those things, I quickly was able to build a bench of coaches that were dependable and amazing. There's most of them are still with me 2.5 years later. So that's I mean, that's amazing. And I do believe culture is a competitive edge as well. So very much believe in investing in it. I know it can be hard to like see the ROI like from I guess that standpoint, but like I don't know. I see it in terms of my growth and I stand behind it and will
Yeah.
not be swayed.
I love that. I think it's like the best feeling when you have this group of coaches. And Kath and I are really lucky that we do have coaches that have been with us for 2.5 years and are still going and still happy and still getting the incentivized pay that makes them happy. But we do all sorts of things, like Kathryn said, and take them to soccer games or treat them to meals or whatever we can do to keep everyone happy. And I just had the best feedback from a new coach. She goes, I've never been a part of a company that cared this much about their employees. And I'm thinking, really? This is all we care about. It's all we talk about. This is a community where we want you to be happy. We want you to thrive. We don't want you out there unhappy with what's going on. And it's such a fun thing to do to coach kids. I mean, you should be happy. You're out in the fields and there's laughter and the kids are happy, the parents are happy. It's just a great environment. Having a business like this is just amazing. And I'm so glad that the coaches see it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had a coach who got a full-time job. It's what he went to school for. He was like, it was so hard to have to leave. He's like, you were the best boss I've ever had. I love this job. And like just hearing those words, like it meant so much. And I also am so happy for him and was like, of course, like I wish you could be a soccer coach for me forever, but that's just not the reality of this business. And so it's helping these coaches, many of which, for me are in college, not all of them, but a majority are. And so it's just helping be a part of that journey and their personal development so that they can land that full-time job
We
in an
want them to
instant.
thrive. We want them to keep
Yeah.
going, like, go on and do amazing things, and it's nice when you can inspire them to do that, so it's awesome. So we've overcome these challenges that we had in the beginning. We figured it all out, but there's still challenges now that we should talk about a little bit because in small business, there always is going to be a new challenge. So my new challenge is I've tried to hire a manager a couple of times. I was just talking to Kathryn about this yesterday because she has an amazing manager, and I just haven't found that right person. However, I think there's been a blessing because one of my top coaches that I love dearly would like to become my manager. So it's really just, you never know where it's going to lead, but that is a challenge. In order to fully grow and expand, like we were talking about with this like fear of expansion, I have to have a manager in place. My virtual
Yeah.
assistant's doing everything she can in the background, but she's not physically here. So I do need that manager that can be in front of the coaches, on the front lines, out there while I'm growing in a different location. She can now be managing what I was managing. So that's my big challenge.
And I think that's a great point. I mean, Whitney was a coach first, just like your coach. She was a top coach, and we are so in sync. And so I love it. She had written out this whole little diatribe to me. And we were talking, and it just was so natural for us. And it just and so she progressed and was like, I think I could help you. I'm like, I really need you because I need help to grow. So I think for those of you listening, if you own a franchise or a business, I think being able to promote from within, whatever that if it's a technician, a coach, it just depends on the business, I guess. But like, see, because that you see their work ethic, you get to know them. And so it's just a really easy way to kind of identify like who the leaders are and who you can depend on. And you get to know their strengths. And so, what better way, like, to promote someone to grow your business.
Yeah. And hire within. A lot of my coaches I find from coaches.
Oh, yeah, me too. That's the number one way, because they say one way to make a really great culture is having your best friend at work. And guess what? It's true.
And we're proof of it.
And we're proof of it. Look at us.
We're running the same company in two different locations, but it's awesome to have a best friend doing the same thing. It makes you feel a lot more comfortable moving forward with it.
Well, it's having that accountability partner. Like you and I
Yeah.
hold each other accountable. And also, when we have really tough times, we call each other and we can, can't say the word BITCH and moan if we need to. And then we get it off our chest. And it's like, okay, great. I got out my feelings. Now let's talk about this pragmatically. What does this mean? How do I move forward? And then we hold each other accountable. So it's great.
It's great. Safe space, accountability. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, so what did we not know when we bought a franchise? We should talk about that a little bit because I think the listeners would like to know maybe what they don't and that what we wish we knew. So I think for me personally, I had been looking at the just like that shiny object of the coffee shop, and I just thought, how fun would it be to own a coffee shop and hire baristas and have this cute little dream? And then
That sounds so fun.
it sounds very
Right.
fun.
Why not? Why not? Rose lenses?
Rose lenses for sure. Those profit margins that I was looking into were not what I thought they were going to be. And it was just
Yeah.
really high overhead. So I shied away from that. But I think I thought all franchises were going to be like that. You'd have to be in the store, in the shop, in the restaurant, whatever it was going to be. And you have to be in it every day. So I looked at home services and I thought, I don't want to be in an attic blowing insulation. That was out. What I didn't know is that if you can just grind for the first, let's say 18 months, right, Kathryn? We kind of like to say 12 to 18, but really it's 18 months. If you can do that and expand and grow your business, then you're the CEO and the boss. You're not out in the field as much. You're not out there doing all the things. You've hired that person like we were just talking about with a manager and your coaches. But I think I didn't realize how nice it was going to be to grow something and then step away and take vacations. Like, I don't have to ask for a vacation. I thought I was going to be tied to this business, not able to travel. Catherine was just in Italy. I got to attend a huge family reunion for my husband's side of the family. And I guess what? Neither one of us had to ask permission. Didn't ask. We didn't have to because we're the CEOs and bosses of our own small business. And it is so freeing to know that you can travel, be with your family, go anywhere in the world, and the company runs itself. So I didn't realize I could do that after 18 months. And that felt really good to be able to say that I could step away.
Absolutely. I went on a walk with Rhea this morning and she's looking to build up her real estate business. And she's like, you know what? She's like, oh my gosh, like I was at the Lafayette Wine and Art Festival. You had a booth there. You were in Italy. And like, how do I get to where you are? Because she's in that grind. She's right now. And I told her 18 months, my friend, just grind because she's grinding. She's grinding it out. And yeah, it is really nice to put in the work, continue to put in the work, but it's just a different level of work and it becomes you're not as in the business, you're working more on the business.
Yeah, and I think that's just the beauty of franchising. So I wish I would have known that going into it. I think it may have steered me in a different direction. So I'm glad I didn't because I bought soccer stores and I've loved every minute. And like Catherine says, you don't know what you don't know, and I didn't know. So now I'm just looking at it from a different perspective, and it's very freeing.
And the reason, for me, I came from franchising. So I had been in franchising for 13 years. I had been on the franchise sales side, was in marketing, supporting all of our franchise owners, business development, supporting the sales team. So I knew a lot about franchising, which is how I quickly identified that Soccer Stars was such a great partner. Um, in franchise system, but in true me fashion, also, like, I move quickly, I evaluate options and I go. So I, of course, move quickly. I didn't talk to any other I had a call with Jack Johnson, Franchise Insiders. We're on his team now, and he was like, "Hey, I think you'd really like Soccer Stars." And I started thinking about my kids are of age. I have a really big network here, people I know. So, marketing's my background. Like I just saw, like, I'm like, this has legs. This has legs. I could do it. It's a great territory. And I moved and I went, but I didn't talk to any other franchises about, I mean, nothing, right? I didn't even get that far. But like what I wish I had known, and I do not regret my decision at all. I love Soccer Stars. It's fantastic. But for people out there, you know, I wish I had, like, looked at other franchise concepts and did validation calls and maybe better understood some of the revenues and the profit margins and things like that, because that's really important. And I definitely went into that totally blind, didn't do any market research. Hey, it's all worked out. I'm not complaining. It's great, but probably could have been a little savvier in that area. So that's probably what I wish I knew.
Yeah, I think it's just there's a reason why we do suggest that whenever you work with us as consultants, you follow the process just like a franchise. Follow the process, do the validation calls, check your territory, maybe triple check it, then FDD, look at the item 19, talk to those other franchisees, and really do the due diligence before signing. And then you're going to feel so much more comfortable going into it. And a good franchise will always have a little bit of issues. That's okay, but find out what they are and make sure they're not challenges that you're uncomfortable with. Because I remember that I've done a bunch of validation calls and the challenges that we've had have been so minimal that I don't think anybody really shied away from Soccer Stars after talking to us. There's not much to be worried about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I kind of think of it, I liken it to dating. I'm gonna throw out an analogy. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't.
Let's
So
go.
it's like dating, right? Like you date people throughout your life, and as you date different people, you realize, ooh, I like this quality or I don't like that quality. So when I think a lot of people are looking for their husband or wife, like their future partner, and like you're doing the research by dating people. So it's
Mhm.
similar in franchising. Like talk to multiple franchisors and within each system, different franchisees, because it will just either like confirm what you already think, like, okay, I like this, and yes, this is confirming what I'm thinking. I think this is a good company, and you're talking to different franchise owners. Okay, this is confirming it, or anyways, it's
No,
important.
I think that's a perfect analogy, and I use it, and I tell people that all the time that the people that I dated, I took all the best qualities that I loved about those people, and I was like, none of the negative things I found in my husband. I found all those great qualities in him and then so much more, and that's exactly what you wanna look for is like, what did I really like about that franchise? The marketing. It looked awesome. Was I gonna go and do restoration? No. But the marketing was amazing. So I took that. I was like, okay, I'm really drawn to excellent marketing, something in your face that like really speaks to me, where if the truck drives by, you're like, that's that company, things like that. But I think you're absolutely right, Kathryn. It's so much like that. And I think the biggest mistake that I see with clients is not treating it as a relationship when you're going through this process, because those franchisors can say no to you.
Right.
It's not a one sided direction, just like dating. That person can say no, the franchise system can say no to you. So you have to take it seriously. And if you don't show up on time, you're not taking it seriously, you probably are not going to become a franchisee for that company.
Yeah, and, like, it's like we've talked about. I mean, think of it like a job interview, right? Like, when you're interviewing at a company and you're interviewing with different people in leadership, like, you're looking at the leaders of the company. So just like a franchisor in a franchise system, franchisor, right? You're looking at the executive leadership, and are they people who are gonna be your partner because it is a partnership? Are they going to support you? Do they want you to succeed, like, and how much? Like, it's very clear to us, like, Bob will get on the call and, I ping him and he's like, "I'll give you a c." I
I
mean,
know what president.
how does he have time? But he makes time.
I
He
know.
makes that speaks volumes to me about the leadership at Soccer Stars and the culture that it's lead by example. It starts at the top. That's like the type of franchisees you're going to also draw in. And so that's like who you're joining. And you're joining your own business, yes, but you're joining like a group. It's like a company. So it's, yes, treat it like an interview.
Treat it seriously. Don't joke around. This is a real deal. So buy a franchise for sure, but don't treat it like a joke. It's a real job.
Yeah. So why do you love being a woman in franchising? I mean, it's small, it's Women in Small Business Month. So what do you love personally about being a woman in franchising?
My favorite part about being a woman in a franchise and owning my own business is getting other women that come up and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm just so impressed with what you're doing. I was just talking about you the other day. You're inspiring me to now do something similar or expand my business. How did you do it?" And I think that like the fact that you can be a woman in franchising and not even realize you're having this impact on other women is amazing. And they're saying, "I'm a mom too, and you're a mom and you're doing this. So I definitely can be doing more than what I'm doing." And it's just really fun. And it's great to be able to talk to them about how we're balancing it, where they need to go, what they need to do. And I just didn't realize how many eyes were watching us, specifically you and me, Catherine. But I feel like we just get it a lot that people are curious and they're coming up and they want to know more. And I love that because I think that women are going to be really impressive. I think it's like 40% of the businesses out there are women. I think it's gonna be like 60% in no time. I see more and more women asking me and wanting to get into business.
I mean, here's the thing, like, we're the CEOs of our household, let's be honest. Like, women, I
We do
I
everything. We
I and they're also typically women are just their nature, we're caregivers, right? We nurture, we care for. Like that's kind of part of our DNA often. And so if you think about owning your own company and what makes a company successful, it's caring for and nurturing a team under you and making it a wonderful place to work. And in turn, whoever those people are in our world, it's coaches, they take phenomenal care of the kids that we service, and from lead from the top, right? Like, it starts at the top. So, I just think women in franchising, like, right now, yeah, 40% are women owners. Like, I know that number is climbing, but women are incredible. I mean, when I think back to my old company, when I think of the top performers in that company, majority of them were women, hands down. And I don't know the research on all the other companies, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was, like, a true stat.
yeah,
I'm a
I
top
believe it.
performer. You're a top performer in our company. Think about the top performers in Soccer Stars, like,
A lot of them are women.
a
Yeah,
lot of them.
And, like, the resiliency that women have, like, we're more adaptable just by nature, so I think that helps a lot, is, like, we're really good at, like, following the systems, but we're resilient. We're not gonna give up just because something didn't go well one day, and I think that is just so amazing. Everything that we do, we juggle everything. Kathryn and I, we love our husbands, but holy world. I think there's just,
Holy world.
there's just so much that we do in a day. If I had more hours, I can't even imagine what I would get done. I just run out of hours. That's why I don't do more. It has nothing else to do with anything. I run out of hours in the day and I have to sleep or I'll crash. But if I didn't have to sleep and I had more hours, I'd be doing a lot more.
Yeah, and that was I don't think I talked about my challenge, but my biggest challenge right now is time management. I
Mhm.
actually think I'm good at time management, but it's kinda like what I've been talking about this whole time. It's like, okay, I know my roadmap, my plan like you do, but then you have the fear of the expansion and losing quality, and you don't wanna do that, and I do not have time to be back out there on the field an hour drive away. Like, it's not gonna happen, and so really getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and managing my time so that I am focused on the revenue generating activities. Like that's where I need to focus. And so the challenge is like not getting distracted. Maybe that's it. My biggest challenge, don't be distracted. Set a goal, set a plan, write it down, put it in my calendar, block my time, and then execute. So,
I love that. And yeah, I like what you said about your favorite part about being a woman in franchising. I think listeners might find that interesting.
and what's your favorite part about being a Soccer Stars owner? I know we're about to wrap up, so let's
Okay.
end there.
I think my favorite part is just I think we both agree on this, it's the impact. I had no idea owning Soccer Stars as a franchise owner would impact so many people, not just the kids and the coaches, but the community and the outreach that you can do and everything that you can give back. It just feels so good. Like the coaches' lives are being improved, the kids are so thriving and happy, and then you have this community impact where the whole community rallies around you because we're giving back, Kathryn and I, all the time. We're supporting local teams, we're sponsoring, we're donating. We want everyone to know that we're here for them. It's not just a business to us, it's about bringing the community together under the Soccer Stars name.
Absolutely. And I think for those of you listening, like that's something when we're on calls with prospective franchise owners, the community impact piece is something I always really want to understand. And that's why me personally, even though numbers are really great with like home services, for example, I didn't have the same like pull to that because I couldn't envision in my mind the level of community impact I could make with like a home services brand versus Soccer Stars. But that's just me, right? Like I'm not everyone, I'm me. And that was really important to me. And that's why I'm so happy with being a Soccer Stars owner because it's completely aligned with my core values. And community impact is one of those. So I'll leave it there.
Yes. So, long story short, we're small business owners. We're both women in business. All of October, we're going to be interviewing as many people as we can. Tune in for the next one. And if you want to work with Kathryn or myself, go to the Franchise Insiders and click on our name. We'd love to talk to you.
Thanks for listening.